various markets. Which is really basically tough. Do really well news or really, what's happened for us, really look at us. I suspect the one who wrote some shit actually extremely nice one.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Packers Across the Pond, part of the Across the Pond Sports Network. Hope everyone is doing well. My name's Chris. I'm your host for today, and you can find me at CB Across the Pond on Instagram and X. And today I'm joined by a new guest. My best mate, but my biggest rival, is Jono, and you can find him at JonoGarnett on X as well. Jono, how are we doing?
I'm all right. Do I have to call you Chris? Because that's strange. That's strange for me. You just backed me to me. Yeah.
So, as part of this network, what we want to try and do is we want to try and bring our rivals from the NFC North into the pod, get their perspective on how their team is getting on, and their wishes and their predictions for the forthcoming season. I think it brings a different dynamic and it brings a different opinion to the NFC North. So, John, I'm glad you've joined us, and hopefully we'll be nice and kind to each other, and hopefully can join a couple lives when we actually play you guys in the season.
100%. I have said I will try and keep it as friendly as possible. I appreciate the audience, so I do feel very welcome. Not sure how long that was for, but we'll see how we go.
Lovely. Right, let's get cracking, mate. So we just want to start on a bit of Green Bay news. The big one I think we need to start off with is the Josh Jacobs situation. Was taken to custody in Brown County, multiple domestic abuse charges last week. He is released without charge, but I think this is an ongoing saga that will last not days, but weeks, months, right up to the season, I think. I'm not going to go into it too much because I think it's been shown across the whole NFL quite a lot. But I just want to talk about it on a Green Bay perspective. There was a lot of talk about Green Bay not doing enough in the offseason regarding the running back position. It wasn't a great position last season in terms of fitness and depth. We had Marshawn Lloyd, who was out for the season. Well, he's been out for 2 years. Chris Brooks and Emmanuel Wilson, and Josh Jacobs wasn't fit. So I really hope that this doesn't highlight the lack of depth in the running back position. But I think over the next coming weeks, we'll pick on this a bit more when more news comes out. And yeah, I don't want to touch on that too much. The next piece of news was actually released yesterday. It was a potential trade for Josh Sweat from the Arizona Cardinals. It's another piece in our defensive line. I know we've got Micah Parsons and Van Ness and Javon Evans and all that kind of stuff, but in my opinion, Gutekunst is really going for it now. He's obviously listened to his new defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, who played with him at the Arizona Cardinals. And do you know what? If he comes in and gets 10 sacks and he helps Micah Parsons, I'm all for it. I think what's stopping at the moment is they're all talking about cap space. We have 26 million cap space at the moment, but it all depends on how much Green Bay want to pick up of his 11 million cap space for the Cardinals at the moment, and what will the trade value be? Will it be a 4th round, 3rd round, 2nd round? So I don't think that this may rumble for a few days. So yeah, that's just a bit of Green Bay news. So we'll now turn attention to my guest, Jono. You are of course a Chicago Bears fan.
I'm proud.
Or should I call you an Indiana Bears fan after the latest news about the Chicago Bears stadium move?
Let's not get into that. I've just been talking to someone about that actually, and it's because obviously we're in the UK, and I'm trying to find a kind of comparison that we can put it into in terms of football terms. Football as in, soccer. I likened it to, so imagine if you're a Newcastle United fan, right? And these new owners that they've had, well, I say new owners, they've been there for a while now with Eddie Howe and whatnot, and getting European football. So let's just imagine they've got their eyes on building a new 75,000 seater stadium. But Newcastle City Council say we're not going to approve that. You're going to have to find somewhere else to build the stadium. Can you imagine Newcastle United fans' reaction to that? Like, oh, we're going to build a new stadium in Tees Valley. We're going to be based out in Durham or somewhere. Newcastle United fans would just not have it whatsoever. They'd be raising cash themselves to make sure that didn't happen. And that's kind of what I feel the situation is with the Bears. Like, my gut instinct is that they'll either decide to just stay at Soldier Field and they'll give up any prospects of hosting the draft and Super Bowls and concerts and things like that, or they will. I think they'll either stay at Soldier Field or they'll go with the Alvington Heights property that they purchased a number of years ago, which is not technically in Chicago, but it's not far away. It's like a 25-minute commute. The Indiana Bears thing just sounds to me like a bit of a poker play. You know, we've got this site, Indiana are on board, all the legislation's passed, it's ready to go. What are you going to do for us, City of Chicago? Are you going to lose us, or are you going to make us an offer? So it's all a bit ridiculous, to be honest. I've been following it as best I can online, on Twitter, and the latest was that they've had some motion to vote on, but they didn't actually get round to vote on it, which is ridiculous.
Okay. I was only winding you up there, but if you just went away with it.
Well, I'd like to, has it touched a nerve? I'm not too sure because, as UK fans of this sport, it's not going to impact us too much where the team plays. I would imagine if you speak to someone from Chicago, they'll be a hell of a lot more passionate about it than me. If the Green Bay Packers decided they were going to move out of Wisconsin, would you be bothered as a fan from the UK?
Well, there has been rumbles and conversations of that for God knows how long. There've always been someone's had a conversation of moving us to Milwaukee because it is one of the biggest cities in the state, and obviously you maximise revenue, but that's what makes Green Bay special. With it being at Green Bay, it's a city of I think 110,000. It makes it unique. So I don't think, in our opinion, would ever move, but. It is a tricky one.
But if they did, let's take your example. So if the team announced next year we're gonna move to a site that we've acquired, we've purchased some land in Milwaukee or whatever, would you be bothered? Like,
yeah,
would you be up in arms about it?
Yeah, I think for the sense of who Green Bay are, it would kick up a fuss. I don't think we would ever move. If it was suggested, I think there would be a massive kickback on it. 100%.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if you were to ask me how would I feel if the team was to be renamed, so if they went down the Raiders route of, I can't even remember what they used to be called, but they'd been the Los Angeles Raiders, they'd been the Oakland Raiders, and now Las Vegas Raiders. Would I be bothered if there was the Indiana Bears? I probably would, because I've followed the team now for a number of years as the Chicago Bears. And that's what I know it as. So it wouldn't sit well with me. Then physically moving to Indiana and still being called Chicago Bears wouldn't really matter too much to me.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work as a naming convention, I get that, but it wouldn't bother me where the team played, as long as the name and the history and everything goes with it. Before we get into more Bear stuff, actually, I wanted to ask you stuff about the Josh Jacobs thing, because from the outside looking in, I think it's an interesting question of timing. So you mentioned there that, obviously it's come about now during the off season. It gives you a bit more leeway and a bit more time to, fill that gap, I suppose, if you need to. Would it be, in your opinion, Green Bay going out to free agency or looking at potential trades, or do you think they need to wait for an eventual, I don't know, sentencing or for the case to be dismissed?
Well, this is the thing. Since the news came out, we haven't panicked as a franchise. We haven't gone out, and hence why the Josh Sweat trade is happening, and we aren't trading for a running back somewhere. Green Bay know more than the public do. They're going to, and when it came out, only Matt LaFleur was interviewed regarding the arrest. And he was very coy. He did the perfect marketing spokesman person of, we have no further information. We'll wait for more, whatever, whatever. I do think Green Bay are waiting. They're waiting for more information. They're waiting for a more in-depth look at it, which is why they're not panicking. No one's been brought in. There's no talk of anyone coming in to join the OTAs as a person who could possibly replace Josh. I don't think you can replace Josh without spending a lot of trade capital and players. They are sitting tight, but if you look at the running back free agency at the moment, you haven't got many players there who could fill the gap as well as Josh Jacobs. You've got, example, I've picked out 4: Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler, and Nick Chubb. They're not going to come in and pull trees.
One of those names could come in and be a serviceable running back for you, though. It's not. If the question is how do we replace someone with the skill set and ability of Josh Jacobs, you're going to have to trade for somebody.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what I'm getting at in terms of timing. Do you proactively look at the market and put the feelers out now with a potential trade lined up?
In my opinion, not yet. I think it's too soon, too premature. Just wait and play its cause. Green Bay are hanging all their chips at the moment on a fit Marshawn Lloyd. He was a second or third round running back 2 years ago in the draft. Has only played a total of 35 snaps in 2 years, and that includes preseason, which is not enough. But the Green Bay love him. They loved his tape. They loved what he could bring as a player.
Yeah.
But can you rely on that for a player who is unproven within the league? There was a video a couple of days ago, him doing drills with Chris Brooks, our third running back, and it's a totally different player, totally different agility, skill set. So they are hoping, but you can't rely on that. But that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They are. I think Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur are waiting and seeing what will happen. But if, again, I think it's the NFL's procedure. If you are arrested for any kind of case like this, it's a 7-8 match ban as well. So he could be missing for the first few games of the season as well, which isn't ideal. So you are risking it.
See,
to go against what I've just said, to go against what I've just said, June 1st cuts have happened. You don't know what other teams, what other players may release. I did see a rumor of Alvin Kamara from the Saints, who has been a baller for years. I'd take him, but right now, I think you're innocent until proven guilty, and I think the franchise, the Green Bay, are taking that forward as until something more develops and something worse comes out, we will stay with that running back room.
It's quite a. I mean, listen. Let's just have it right. It's not like a driving offence or something relatively minor. The charges are quite serious.
It's terrible.
Like you've got to look at things like character. What's he like in the locker room? By all accounts, he's a leader in the locker room. Players like him. Good character, all that type of thing that you look for. But these charges are really serious from what I've read. So I don't know. Do you want him coming back in the locker room with players kind of thinking what's going on in his personal life? Is there a story here we don't know about?
But listen to a lot of other social media experts on the NFL. A lot of people are shocked by this. Previous players, previous coaches managed him. It doesn't seem in his personality and his persona to do something like this. But you never know how someone is behind closed doors, and that's the thing. Again, it's innocent until proven guilty. I think it was very telling that last week Green Bay cancelled all player interviews because they wanted to protect the players. I think they wanted to protect their future as well by if they said the wrong thing and something else happened a month or two down the line, you want to shed it. You don't want to put a bad light on it. So again, as I said in the very beginning, it's going to take a few weeks, months. More information is going to come out, and then Green Bay may have to do something. But I think right now it's just a time to just wait, let the dust settle, and hopefully things sort itself out. But if he is guilty of any charges, I think he will be released, and then we go from there, don't we?
Yeah, I just think you're going to be playing into the hands of those teams that may have a running back on their roster that you're lining up to trade for. And if you do that deal now, it might cost you a fourth rounder. But if it's in August and you need that same player, all of a sudden Green Bay's on the line. They're still interested in this player.
But
Okay,
then,
it's a second rounder now.
yeah, it can work for and against. We get someone now when he becomes not guilty. We've got two running backs again. It could work in our benefit, but I think let's just stay patient. Anyway,
I also wanted to mention the Josh Sweat thing because I've been a bit of an advocate for the Bears making a run at Josh Sweat. I think our pass rush problems are well documented. We were either joint last or in like the bottom three of rushing the passer last year as a defense. We've got Montez Sweat on one side. The other side, we've got Austin Booker, who's still a relative unknown. Well, kind of really pinning his hopes on him having a bit of a breakout year in his third year with us next year. But to get someone of the caliber of Josh Sweat opposite Montez Sweat, I think will just elevate our pass rush. So if you guys were to bring him in on the opposite side of Micah Parsons, that would be very annoying, I've got to say. I know you mentioned it earlier. What's the talk at the minute in terms of price? What you're looking at? Is it a third rounder, fourth rounder? What have you heard?
Again, it all came out yesterday, and I think it's going to be a third. We have a lot of third, fourth rounders next year in the draft due to all the compensatory picks from all the free agents that left us in the off season. I think a third. I mean, enough to get it over the line. And to me, I'd call them and I'd deliver the third to them in person if that makes sense. But
Same here.
I just think you've got Lucas Van Ness and Micah Parsons, but Micah Parsons might not be himself for 6-7 weeks of the season. So you need someone who can hit the ground running, who's fit, who has played for Jonathan Gannon in that defense. It does seem like the perfect fit, and you can have as much pass rush as like it's not a bad thing to have as much pass rush as you can possible, because a fresh pass rush on each down is lethal. So
I agree.
I'm all for it.
It's something I can't really speak about as a Bears fan because it's been close to non-existent for a good number of years now. You could argue since Khalil Mack left at the start of Ryan Paul's tenure as general manager. I mean, I've got to say there's a significant amount of Bears fans that have looked at what the Packers did last year in trading for Micah Parsons and were pushing for the organisation to do something similar with Myles Garrett in the conversation. Obviously, that can't happen now because he's, I think yesterday, he agreed to go to the Rams, which is a bit of a bombshell, which I'm sure we'll come on to later. But I was never really in the camp of making a trade like that. I mean, Ryan Poles has been here now for, 4 years? This is his fourth year. He's never dealt a first rounder before, and I don't think it's in his remit to do that at this point, simply because I don't think we're quite contenders, let's say, for a Super Bowl just yet. I mean, last year was the first time we've won the division in a long time. Playoff football for the first time since, 2020, 21, something like that. So yeah, I was never in the camp of let's give up the farm and go and get an elite guy like a Micah Parsons or a Myles Garrett. But Josh Sweat is certainly the type of player that I'd be massively interested in. If he does go to the Packers, I'll be annoyed. Yeah, because that is already you guys defensively gave us a lot of problems last year. I'm sure we'll come on to the Iceman Caleb Williams and what he did in the playoffs, etc. But we know that if you guys were to add more to that defensive line, it's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, Jono. I want to know your experience as a Bears fan for the Packers and Bears rivalry. What's your experience been as a Bears fan? Because you've had two sides of the coins, and you've had two sides of the coin now, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
what's been your experience like?
Recent history has been, I suppose, surprising and very welcoming. I remember saying to you this time last year, if we're in the conversation to be in the playoffs, I'll be happy. Then to go on to not only make the playoffs but also win the division was, an outstanding season for us. But in terms of my experience being a fan, I became a Bears fan in the run up to the draft where we took Justin Fields. My experience in terms of the rivalry between ourselves and the Packers has been one of envy, in all honesty, because you guys have gone Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. This is how you, acquire and develop franchise quarterbacks. Chicago Bears history has been shocking, to say the least, at quarterback. You can go as far back as you want, really. Jay Cutler, Mitchell Trubisky, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, all have come with great potential and promise, but haven't worked out. We've finally landed Caleb Williams, being able to take him first overall a couple of years ago. And that's, for the first time in my experience at least, he's starting to look the part of what a franchise quarterback could be. I'm not going to sit here and tell you right now that he'll be a top 3 quarterback in the league. I think he's got the potential to do that. And I think if you were to ask him, that's his aspirations. He's already talked about this. He wants to win multiple Super Bowls. He's been on record of saying he wants more Super Bowls than Tom Brady, which is massively ambitious. I think he's got the raw skill set and the talent to go and achieve that. It all depends on, I would say, these next 2 years and what he's able to produce on the field for the Bears. Last year was a massive improvement. He's still got some way to go to be a consistent thrower and just all the kind of fundamentals that you need to be a franchise quarterback, I guess. The stuff that he does that gets you off your seat has been phenomenal to watch. I've been joking with you and others in the past that he seems to come alive in the fourth quarter, and you want to get him by the neck and throttle him sometimes. Like, where's this been for 3 quarters, Caleb? He just seems to absolutely come alive in the fourth quarter, making really key throws, unbelievable throws, when the game's on the line, as you guys will have experienced in that game at Soldier Field at the end of the season and then again in the playoffs. So I'm massively hopeful they can take another jump this year and we can... I mean, listen, if we don't win the division this year, I won't be too annoyed, but I would like us to make the playoffs again.
Okay. Right, fair enough. I think Caleb Williams, he's probably got the perfect head coach with him at the moment. I don't think Matt Eberflus was, because he was defensively minded.
It wasn't so much Matt Eberflus, it was Shane Waldron who we brought in as offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams went on record quite early on, to be fair. It was like just after we went to London, when we went to Tottenham to see the Bears and the Jags in October. He went on record quite soon after that as saying, we're not getting coached hard enough as an offense. We're not getting called out enough. And he wants to be coached hard. And Ben Johnson's come in and completely flipped that on its head. He said in multiple press conferences that, they're in meetings, they're on the field. He's very verbal in calling out Caleb Williams in front of the whole squad, not just the offense. And that's what I think Caleb Williams thrives on. Being coached hard, being made accountable, and becoming that leader of the organisation.
Yeah. There has been, I think, for the past year or so, there has been pundits in the NFL who've tried to put Jordan Love against Caleb Williams in terms of who would you want as a QB. It's going to be a conversation for years to come now. It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's still relatively new to
the answer is Caleb Williams, by the way, but I'll let you finish.
Yeah, okay. For For last season, for the first 3 quarters of most games, Caleb Williams was shocking. He was one of the worst QBs for accuracy. And then, as you said, in the fourth quarter, he came alive. And I don't know what that was. It's desperation. It's Caleb Williams maybe playing under pressure to this has got to work now. This could be Ben Johnson giving him the full open playbook and say, Caleb, you go, mate. It's your offense to run. But that is not sustainable. And historically, teams the next season who have had as many fourth quarter deficits to wins, relative come out with 3 less wins. I think it was a stat. So you are against it next season, and it is down to Caleb Williams, who will have more experience, who will have Ben Johnson with another year on offense to try and knock that trend on its head. For me, Caleb Williams needs to settle into the game more. He needs to find a rhythm quicker. He needs to find his wide receivers quicker. He needs to do simple 7-yard, 6-yard passes instead of panicking and then trying to claw it back in the fourth quarter, if that makes sense.
100%.
I can only imagine this on your perspective. Last season for you guys would have been amazing. 7 games where you've come back, but I imagine that your blood pressure would just like you to have a solid 4 quarters and sail away into the sunset with a win. So it's give and take, really.
The way I'd sum it up is, and both Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams have talked about this to some extent, but to kind of summarise it, last year felt a lot like Ben Johnson and the way in which he set up that offense was kind of saying to Caleb Williams, show me what you're capable of. These are the type of plays and the type of scheme we're going to put together for you to show me what you're capable of doing on the field. Whereas this year, again, Ben Johnson has said it multiple times ahead of OTAs and that type of thing in the spring, we're focusing on completion percentage a lot more. Yeah. So it sounds to me like it's going to be a lot more conservative, running the ball a hell of a lot more. Those easy checkdowns, easy throws into the lane to your tight end are going to be a massive feature. I mean, I can come on to things like 13 personnel and ramping that up.
Yeah.
Probably won't have time, but that's definitely going to be a feature for us next season.
There
will be explosive plays in there. We know Ben Johnson likes to dial up freaky and outlandish plays from time to time. But I think it will, just in general, the offense will be a lot more conservative, I think, for us next year.
So going on the back of that, I want to know any Bears updates. What has happened to your roster? Where are you looking wise as a roster for the Chicago Bears? Any surprise releases? Draft? How was your draft? Any free agencies you've signed? Just give us a brief update on where the Bears roster looks like at the moment.
I think it's been a good progressive off-season so far. There's nothing that I would describe as sensational in terms of free agency and drafts that we've done. What I would say is, and I think you'll kind of reflect on this a little bit from a Green Bay point of view, is that if you just look top down from offense through to defense, it's quite a young, upcoming roster that we've got at the moment. It reminds me of you guys a couple of years ago when you took a couple of, I can't remember names, you'll have to forgive me. Was it Musgrave and one of the other tight ends you took in the draft?
Tucker Kraft and Musgrave.
Tucker Kraft, that's the guy. And I remember you saying at the time, it's such an exciting young team to follow this season. And that's kind of how the Bears are right now. We lost a lot of leaders in the locker room this offseason. The biggest or most notable one was Kevin Byard, who led the season last year in interceptions. He was a big culture guy for us, great safety, but obviously he's jumped to join or rejoin Mike Vrabel now at the Patriots. So that's been a big hole to fill. It looks like they filled that with the acquisition of Kobe Bryant from the Seahawks, obviously Super Bowl winner, good scheme fit for us, and Dennis Allen. And then obviously in the draft, taking Dylan Thieneman in the first round was an absolute steal for us on paper. So that looks like the safety position is going to be well covered. And the rest of the offense, like I say, is young, it's upcoming, it's exciting. without any kind of big names outside of Caleb Williams that the league will ultimately be talking about.
Marvellous. And what are your season expectations? Where are you at the moment in terms of going into the new season?
I mean, listen, winning the division and making a run in the playoffs obviously comes with the caveat of a much tougher schedule on paper. I say on paper, and I'd stress that because last year on paper we had quite a easy, in air quotes, schedule. But as the season went on, those easy games in September start to look a bit more difficult. Um, so I don't know if we'll have the same amount of wins as we did last year, but I still am clinging on to the hope that we can get back into the playoffs. Whether or not we'll win the division again, I'm not too sure about because, listen, you guys have strengthened the Vikings, the Lions, they've all got better. I would like to think it's a conversation between the Packers and the Bears of who will win the North at the end of the season. The Lions, can they regain that strength that they had a couple of years ago? I'm not sure. The Vikings are a bit of a wild card to me at the minute. You know, they brought in Kyler Murray. He could be sensational or completely flop. It's a bit of an interesting one, isn't it? Like this time last year, would you have suggested the Seahawks as a Super Bowl contender?
No, well, we haven't talked about this in previous episodes, but the NFL ranking and the power ranking is absolutely a load of rubbish at this time of the year. Because someone mentioned last year that the Patriots and the Seahawks were like number 16 and number 19 in the power rankings. So yeah, you can't make that prediction who's going to step up to the plate, especially with the Seahawks. You wouldn't have said the Seahawks were anywhere near last year, but they just had a very strong team. They were well coached and they were well drilled, and that's all the Seahawks were. But their roster has now been depleted because that's what happens to Super Bowl teams usually.
Like if we were having this conversation last year, I would say Seahawks look okay on paper, but they've got Sam Darnold. So
yeah,
you know, what do you expect him to do with that?
and also the
Sam
division they
Darnold
were
has
in as well.
and yeah, obviously the strength of
Yeah,
that division is up for debate. But you know, I'd be sat here saying, good team on paper, good defense, but Sam Darnold's their quarterback. So
yeah,
what do you want him to do? And then Sam Darnold goes and has the season of his life, and they end up winning the Super Bowl.
yeah, yeah.
I would like to think that fans around the league will look at the Bears in a similar light. Like they've got a good young, progressive head coach, a good young roster. They've got Caleb Williams, who can be sensational. He can be hit and miss. Let's see what happens, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. My prediction is that we will finish in the top two of the division again. I don't know. I can't put it out there that we'll clean the division up and run away with it because the NFC North is so strong again going into next year. It literally could be any of the four teams that win the league.
Well, last week we had a schedule episode, and me and my co-host John, not Jono, the other another John, here we broke down our predictions, and we both said it's going to be a 1-1 between ourselves and the Bears. I think it's going to be home wins for each of us. I think it's going to be home wins between the Packers and the Lions, but I think it will be a sweep of the board for the Vikings. And we both thought that would happen. Just to put you on the spot, because that's what we like to do here on Packers Across the Pond. If it's January the 18th on 2027, if you could predict now, what would be your rankings for the NFC North? Where will the teams finish next year?
Obviously, I'm going to put Bears top, even contrary to what I've just said.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you, by the way, just before that. I think we'll win either of the games at Lambeau and Soldier Field, and so will the Packers. I think it'll be an even split. We don't tend to do well historically away at the Vikings, so I'll take that on the chin, but I think we'll beat them at Soldier Field, and probably same with the Lions, to be honest. Yeah, I'll go Bears, Packers, Lions, Vikings.
We are hoping to have some Lions fans and some Viking fans on this podcast, but I don't. A lot of people are touting the Lions to win the division at the moment, and I think that's because they have got the easiest schedule out of the teams in the division. But I can't look at their roster and say that they've strengthened. I just can't. Like there isn't any big moves. They've lost a few players. The draft. People look at it as the Dan Campbell effect, and I just don't see the Lions as strengthening as well as they could have.
Well,
The Vikings, it's exactly the same. Yeah, they've got Kyler Murray, but what have they really done? They lost their best linebacker. They lost an edge. They lost their defensive tackle to us. Have they really gone out of the market and really strengthened? I don't see it as well. But again, they've got Kevin O'Connell, who for me is one of the best coaches within the NFL. The beauty of the NFC North is each team have got a quality head coach. You can't look at the division and say it's a Cardinals effect or something like that. You just can't do that. So each of these teams could make a push, but at the moment, I only see the Bears and the Packers pushing for the NFC North spot. I can only see that because I do think the Lions and the Vikings roster will get found out against the better teams, and that's just where I sit with NFC North at the moment. And they may prove me wrong by some additional players that they bring on in the off season or in pre-season or a trade deadline. But right now, I think the Bears and the Packers should be looking at the division thinking it's between us two, and the games against us two are the biggest ones, in my opinion.
I certainly think Green Bay will win more games than the Vikings and Lions.
Yeah, I think so too. Injury permitting, obviously.
Injury permitting, getting Micah back will be massive for you guys. I think if he comes back fit and firing without any repeat of the injury and that type of thing, I think that sets you up. Can I ask you about Matt LaFleur? Because you've just mentioned there about each team having a quality head coach.
Yeah,
there were some rumblings or rumours about Matt LaFleur in the off season. Obviously, did you give him a new contract in the end?
Yeah, new contract.
What does he need to do this season then to keep being the head coach of the Packers into 27 and beyond?
He needs to not finish the 7th seed again. He needs to get into the playoffs comfortably, in my opinion, and we need to have a run in the playoffs.
If I said to you that you'll get wild card spot again, but you'll lose your first playoff game, is that him gone in your opinion?
Potentially, it adds more pressure because of what he's been given as a roster with Parsons and potentially Josh Sweat and whatnot, and we have improved the squad. I think it will be up for debate at the end of the season.
See, it's crazy to me as a Bears fan to hear that, and I appreciate your opinion, and it's absolutely right. But all we've ever known is chaos and misery. Certainly since I've been a fan, it's the first time it looks like on paper we've got a good quality head coach with a really good quarterback and a good young ascending roster. It seems like the wheels are in motion for the first time. So to hear that a head coach particularly for our rivals, consistently in the playoffs, consistently winning football games, to be questioned about his future seems bonkers. But I appreciate where you're coming from.
He, in my opinion, he was given a bit of leeway at the end of this season because of the major injuries to the squad. We were 2 scores ahead of the Denver Broncos when Christian Watson went down and Michael Parsons went down, and we were 9-3, and we were literally taking the head off the Broncos at Denver. If Watson hadn't have gone down and Parsons had stayed fit, more or less we probably would have won that game. And you're looking at 10-3 with a healthy team going into that run against the Bears, against the Vikings, against the Ravens, and it would have been a different. In my opinion, we would have finished higher than we did. So I think it was given a bit of leeway in terms of that. But the criticism for last year in terms of Matt LaFleur was letting the brakes off the offense. We played against the Browns, we played against the Eagles, and it was very conservative. There was one game where the opponent's defense called out the play before it was even ran, because people just knew what Green Bay was going to do. And what really changed for Matt LaFleur last year was the game as against the Lions Thanksgiving. He went on every fourth down. He went for the jugular, and ultimately we took the heads off the Lions, and that's what really changed. And Matt LaFleur wants a balanced running back, a run game and a pass game, but you've got to look at the situation and think, if you're going to win, let's win. Take the brakes off the offense. Let them play. These players are paid millions and millions of pounds to catch the ball, to throw the ball, to block, and being a conservative team that is expected to win doesn't sit well with the Packers. And probably yourself, if you were looking at Caleb Bears, if you're looking at Caleb Williams, just giving a pass to the running back, you would be frustrated, thinking, my QB can do so much more than what he's allowed to. And I think that was the issue with Matt LaFleur last year. And yeah, when he did take the brakes off, we were great. And then the injuries came, and then whatnot. But he needs a better season this year, 100%. And yeah, I'm looking at it as Green Bay should be in the NFC Championship game, which we probably won't be. But he needs to do better than the 7th seed, or he needs to do better than a 3-10 or a 9-9 or a 9-10 record. It needs to be better.
Well, it sounds like you've just thrown him to the wolves, because you've just said there that, you know, he needs to be getting to the NFC Championship game, but you don't think they will. So writing's on the wall. Like, it's time to step up.
He's got to step up, and he's got to be the head coach that everyone says he's, because if he had been fired in the offseason, there was multiple teams ready to pounce on his signature. So he is well thought of across the NFL. And again, if we had got rid of him, who would we have got in? Jim Harbaugh? No, I was never a fan of getting Harbaugh in. So we need it as players back. We need to stay fit, and then if we can possibly pick up wins, because I predicted a 12-win season, because I have to be optimistic. but if we finish with 11 wins, 10 wins, because I do think the NFC North will be against each other, I think it'll be very tight. So he needs a better season. He does, and he needs to manage it better. He needs to manage it. So yeah.
I was just a word of caution. Just be careful what you wish for, because the guy's a good, he's a good coach, consistent player football. I'd be delighted. I'd be delighted if they parted ways with him tomorrow. But
I agree, and I don't want him to go, but I think he needs that. I think he needs that bit of pressure to say, we have given him a lot. We have given given two first rounders for Micah, Josh Sweat, bringing in these free agencies like McKinney and Josh Jacobs, and really building a strong team for him. The team needs to perform, or at least not get swept away in games, like grab them by the balls essentially and come on with the Green Bay Packers. It's like the way we lost against you guys was just a kick in the teeth, and we don't want that. And no team wants that.
I wasn't going to mention that out of respect for the program.
No, but again, it's you won, and I can't take that away from you. But it's little things like if Romeo Dobbs had just caught the ball, and
it was ridiculous. I've got to say,
it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But for a neutral, it's fantastic. And that's why when I try and tell people about the NFL, and they always speak to me about, it's a long game, it takes ages. It says no, it doesn't, because you have moments like the Bears Packers rivalry that make you look at the game and think, I love this game. I love it. And how many times, like we've got a group chat called the Red Zone, and there's loads of guys in there. We've got a Dolphins, Pats, Chiefs, Vikings, Raiders, and we all talk about moments in Red Zone about and we all say, how do people not love this? Do you know what I mean? How do people not sit on a Sunday evening at 6 p.m. watching my man on Red Zone be an absolute legend? Like, it's so addictive, and and I think
I'd
I
love
said
to
this
go.
to
I'd
you.
love to go. Would you love to go for a pint with Scott Hansen?
Oh yeah, yeah. We wouldn't say much, but we would just sit there and listen to him
I'd
a
just
lot.
sit and stare at him. I'd love it. Yeah.
But I can't understand how people won't give it a try. Like even when I'm at work, I show people the best plays with Aaron Rodgers and things like that, and I'm thinking, for me, that's unbelievable.
Remind me to
And
tell you the story of trying to get my dad to watch 30 minutes of Red Zone.
oh yeah,
We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it off here, but it's a great story. That
it's just mad. It's just mad. So thank you for the Bears update, my man. We'll quickly finish with his last section, which is additional NFL news. It's June 1st has hit. So essentially, it's round 2 of the free agency market. We've had some trades. It's been pretty big. I
we
think the
have.
biggest one at the moment is Myles Garrett going to the LA Rams. The Rams have traded away Jared Verse, a 2027 first round pick, a 2028 second round, and a 2029 third round pick. Wow. The
You
real
do that all day. By the way, you would do that all day long.
100%. And I saw something yesterday that the Browns made a call to the Bears. I don't know if it's a rumor or I saw a post, but they made a call to the Bears to say, "Are you involved?" And I don't know if that's true or not. Could be false news, but I think it's an interesting point if
It's
they
there's
they
some
did
truth.
get on the phone.
There's some truth to that, I believe. I'm not I'm not an NFL or Bears insider, but I think there's some truth to that. Ultimately, like I said before, our general manager Ryan Poles has yet to give up a first rounder for any trade. And ultimately, I think the Bears would have had to have coughed up multiple first rounders because we don't have someone of the caliber of Jared Verse to offer up in a trade scenario. Uh,
No,
you would be looking to give up someone on offense, which we're not ready to do yet. So we were never really in serious conversations about that. But if you're the LA Rams, I think you do that every day of the week, that trade. I think it's great value for both parties. I think it's great value. Cleveland have obviously dug their heels in for a good couple of years now with Myles Garrett. They gave him that massive contract extension
mm,
here when he went on the Rich Eisen show and said, "I'm not going to play for the Browns anymore. It's not about money, but I want to go and win championships." And then, like an hour later, he signs a massive deal.
it's the
Uh,
best. I know. Crazy.
I think
I,
it's a great deal for all that.
as you're probably aware on this podcast, I'm not a Rams fan, but the way they've conducted business in the past 10 years is absolutely phenomenal. And I don't know if you know this, but in the past 10 years, the LA Rams have only had 3 first round picks.
Yeah,
One of them was this year, Ty Simpson, the QB, one in 2016, and one of them was Jared Verse, who they've just traded away. So if you look at how well that franchise has been run, how well it's been coached by Sean McVay, to now use another first round, which you like look at it as this next year in the 2027 draft, you're not going to get a better player than Myles Garrett. And I said this year about the 2026 draft. The Green Bay Packers aren't going to draft a better player than Micah Parsons. So you do that all day. And the Rams, I think, are in a win now situation in terms of their
100%.
roster. So massive respect to the Rams for this. Massive respect. The
Yeah. All the eggs are in one basket.
Yeah.
They've got to win a Super Bowl the next 2
But they did
years.
that last time though. They did that last time when they brought in Von Miller when they won. Because you had Von
Yeah,
Miller and you had
Aaron
um,
Donald.
Aaron Donald, and even he said he's not coming back. Imagine Aaron Donald coming back with Myles Garrett. Good load. The other trade that happened was AJ Brown. That was for I think a 2027 third or fifth round and a 2028 first round. So finally, the AJ Brown saga has ended. He's not been happy for a few years. I do think the Rams are one of the worst coached franchises in the league, but they still get the job done. Fair play to AJ Brown. He's going to an offense. He's back with Mike Variable. He'll be wide receiver number 1, but he's also with Romeo Dobbs, who got released by the Packers, he's a very good wide receiver. So again, they've got better, and it makes the NFC a bit easier for us with not having a wide receiver to go against of the capability of like AJ Brown. So fair play to them.
Romeo Dobbs, just to pick you up on that, sorry to correct you. Romeo Dobbs, yeah, good wide receiver, not good at catching onside kicks.
No, I think he's personally been taken off that role, and I think they'll probably look at the videotape and says no, he's not special teams.
Straight decision.
One of the craziest things I saw yesterday, and you posted this in the group, that the New York Giants have brought back Odell Beckham. Don't know what that is about, but they have got a very, very old receiving room, as they also brought back, or not brought back, but signed Juju Smith-Schuster, who seems to have played for every team within the NFC and AFC. So the New York Giants are going for a bit of experience, even though they've got Malik Neighbors, who will be coming back off an injury.
I think the OBJ thing's, what's the right word? Not emotional, but because of the history of OBJ and Eli Manning in New York, and the fact there'll be fans still going to MetLife with Beckham 13 on the jerseys. I think it's help us to, we'll help you to help us kind of arrangement.
Yeah.
I didn't see many other NFL teams being interested in OBJ at this stage in his career.
No.
So yeah,
I remember
think
4 years ago we were interested with him because I think Aaron Rodgers wanted him, but it never came to fruition. So, but he's probably been given the minimum vet deal for a wide receiver, which is probably about 3-4 million, ties him over, and then he'll ride into the sunset and get his big see you later end of the season. One more thing. Russell Wilson has paused his career as he's been offered a TV role. He said he's not officially retired, but he's been given an opportunity to go onto the TV. Personally, for me, he's been offered backup QB roles, supposedly, but he's taking, I don't know what he's waiting for, as I don't think he'll ever be a number one QB for a franchise again. He's done very well for himself over the past few years, but I think it's just like Cam Newton. I think his career's declined at quite a substantial rate, and if he becomes a good TV personnel, fantastic. But I think,
the Russell Wilson thing's just not worked out, has it? Interesting Bears take on that, by the way. When I became a fan, and before they drafted Justin Fields in that particular draft, there was an offer in for the Seahawks to acquire Russell Wilson, 3 first rounders we would have given up. I believe from what I read at the time, the organization rejected the trade. Pete Carroll contacted the front office and said, "What you doing? Let's accept that. That's 3 first rounders. I don't mind. I can go with another quarterback." Thank the Lord that the organization did reject that. Yeah, imagine that. Wow. So
imagine.
Avoided a big error there.
So one thing I would expect is over the next few days that a few more deals will go ahead. It'll be interesting to be on that X machine, and from about midday UK time, things start coming through. So it's like the quiet before the training camp start, and different teams' rosters are getting molded for the season, and so it's a very exciting time, and it is only 100 days till the season starts, so we are getting closer now, because I do miss it, but slowly getting there. So I just want to finish on this, Jono. I just want to know your season predictions in the NFL. Have you got anything wild you want to predict for the NFL season coming up? Anything Bears related? No, Packers related? Anything general, really? And we'll revisit this later in the year.
It's really easy and obvious to put the LA Rams now in the conversation of who you're going to pick for Super Bowl contention. As far as the Bears go, I think if we were to go one step further and get to that NFC Championship game, that would be an unbelievable season for us. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we're ready to make a run at the Super Bowl, because I just think we're a couple of pieces short of that at the moment. But last year was a surprise. Why can't they surprise us again? In terms of the Green Bay Packers, from outside looking in, and from the rivalry perspective and everything else that goes with it, it's interesting what you've said about Matt LaFleur, in that, if you guys don't get to that NFC Championship game, his head's going to be on the chopping block. I would say you guys are firmly in the conversation to win the division. I think if you win the division and have a good run in the playoffs, that should be a good season. But I'm sure you'll disagree with that. and tell me you need to go one step further and get to that NFC Championship game.
I mean, I'm probably seeming a bit harsh there and a bit spoilt, but we've had past 3-4 years or so, we've finished in the wild card in the last place. We've snuck in on occasion. I don't think the Packers want that. I think we want to go into the playoffs looking hot, playing well, but which I think every team does. But I think we want a bit more conviction, and if we can make the NFC championship game, it's a sign of a good season in my eyes. But we just don't want to be crawling in, because most teams crawling the playoffs don't make it past the first round. So I think as a Packers fan, we want more intent. We want more of that. Does that make sense?
Just, I don't know. Can I ask you one question before we wrap up?
Yeah, of course.
If all things are equal, would you swap Caleb Williams for Jordan Love today?
No, absolutely not. No.
Why not?
Because for me, he's a better all-round QB.
Okay, we'll put a pin in that, and we'll revisit that. We'll revisit this time next year.
Statistically, he's better than most stats.
Yeah, but it paints his nails. He's a superstar.
Yeah.
He's
That's
the front cover.
issue.
He's the front cover of Madden next year, by the way.
I did see a video. I did see a picture of the Bears OTAs, and I don't know if it was AI, but it looked a bit chunky, Caleb Williams. I don't know whether that was on or not. But
listen, my man's been in the weight room since February, so
weight room
could be right.
He's been to Hooters in Chicago. That's where he's been. So, Jono, thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully, we will be able to get you back on soon. As I said, when the season starts, we'll be looking to do a couple more of these in terms of leading up to the rivalry games. So, thank you once again for joining on. And if anything does happen with the Bears, if you're happy to come and join us, it would be great, because it's good for, I think, us to get a rivalry perspective on where the Bears are. So, and you can find Jono at jonogarnett. He is a Bears fan, and just like myself, a Sheffield Wednesday fan. So if any USA Wednesday fans listen to this as well, hit him up, because he is full of knowledge on that as well. So thank you for that.
No, thanks, Aaron. I really enjoyed it.
No worries, mate. So this is the end of the episode. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support for the past few episodes. We are still looking for more Packers fans who, if you are interested in joining in this podcast, please message us, as this is something that we are looking to grow, and we will be here weekly. And when the season arrives, we'll be here twice a week with the reaction shows, a build-up show, or sometimes a live show after the game. So thank you very much. My name's Chris. You can find me at CBacrossthepond. And I thank you once again for Jono for joining us. So on that note, have a fantastic week, and I will see you soon. And it's don't you say bear down, but it's a massive go Pack go. Thank you all.
Like and subscribe.